social change maker from Pune. Cool. So we are live? Okay.
He wants to add up something. He has raised his hand. Please let him continue.
I would like to advise, please do not stream this video on YouTube because that goes against the instruction we have received not to publicly.
Okay. And we are not disclosing or discussing anything about tomorrow here. This is actually a regular, this is a weekly discussion event which is happening in Chennai for students. This is a
all right.
discussion. We are not saying any word about it.
Okay, I'm sorry for misunderstanding.
No issues. No issues.
Perfect.
Yeah. Really exciting to have you all with us today. Really a very grand evening today for Smiley India and for every Smiley discussion forum member. Once again repeating, we are having friends from overseas and many special invitees today. Let's introduce, learn from each other and celebrate Pride today on this evening. I humbly request my team member Krishnika to go forward and brief and welcome you all to today's discussion. Go ahead.
Hello guys, I'm Krishnika. Hello everyone, it is my pleasure to welcome everyone for today's grand discussion. Smiley India is a non-profit youth empowerment organization for the youth, by the youth. We believe in building a better world for the better youth and a better youth for the better youth. Now Ashish here will play a small clip to us to get a better insight on Smiley India.
Yes.
Yes, Ashish, go ahead and play.
Okay, I'll just play the video for you.
Smiley India is a non-profit youth empowerment organization working among students for youth empowerment and social change through youngsters. Smiley has been recognized as one among the top 12 young social change makers of India in the 2019 AYC panel. We conduct workshops, weekly social discussions, provide peer-based mental health support, support student innovations, and represent youth opinion in order to build a happy, humanistic, responsible, motivated, and an innovative youth community which will lead the changes and build the better India of tomorrow. And the best part is, we do it by the students, for the students, with a complete student leadership. We have a wide genre of youth committees where your talents can be used for making a difference.
Thank you, Ashish. I guess now we had a very nice insight on what Smiley India is. So now about our discussion forum. This is a student discussion platform for school students from various institutions, regions, and culture to come together and talk about or discuss objectively emerging issues, national issues, and bring solutions by themselves. So we are very glad that we got an opportunity to celebrate Pride Month in our organization by conducting various activities, competition, and this very discussion. We are very happy to be here, and we did this to bring more light on the subject of pride in our youth community. So once again, I warmly welcome all of you to this discussion and our lovely chief guest. So I request founder and CEO Kavan Mendan to kindly introduce our chief guest today.
Thank you.
Actually, he already introduced, but yeah.
Thank you so much. Fantastic. I think everyone, beautiful introduction from Krishnika, and she owes an introduction also. The pride for celebrating this Pride Week should go to Krishnika. She was the one initiating Pride Week celebrations in Smiley India, and she was the one organizing all the events along with Ramachandra, Ashish, Vishal, Janavi, and many others in the team. So, Krishnika, thank you. First of all, I thank everyone from overseas, from other states, for joining us with today, accepting my invitation and joining with us today. Thank you so much, my friend. So going with the first special invitee of today, we are having G from Wales, who is working among his community to generate positive impact and basically educating people about trans education. He's providing to people, youngsters and community. And he is working for the trans community and leading the LGBTQ movement in his place. So also he has a Instagram page, Coach Cosplay, wonderful pages. I think he's going to be the next Spider-Man for Marvel in audition. I can guarantee that. Thank you so much for joining with us today, G. You can proceed now and talk about the concepts you have brought to us today.
Well, hi, and thank you so much for having me along. I'm really honored to be a part of this. So I've got a little PowerPoint to share with you all, if it's okay if I share my screen.
Of course, we'd love to.
Yes, William, please go ahead.
Thank you. So today I'm just going to talk through some of the basics of trans awareness and introduce you to some of the issues facing trans people. So my name's G Williams, I'm 17 and from Wales in the UK, and my pronouns are he, him and they, them. So pronouns are what I've just used to describe myself, and they're individual to each person. So especially for trans people, pronouns are really important. And the best thing to do is just ask people which pronouns they prefer and then respect their decision. People overcomplicated it a lot, but it's just that simple of speaking to people and finding out what they are comfortable with. So the aims for today's session are to introduce the term trans and then explain the importance of respecting other people's identities. So trans and transgender is an umbrella term, which is often shortened to trans, which describes a multitude of different gender identities. So within the transgender umbrella, there's the binary of man and woman, which we generally understand and see frequently. And then there's also the umbrella of non-binary, which encompasses so many different identities such as genderqueer, agender, bigender, and many more. So it's important to know the difference between the terms being used, and it is different across the world. So I'm not sure which is most commonly used in India and which one Indian trans people want used. But here in the UK, we tend to use transgender, which is denoting or relating to a person whose sense of personal identity and gender doesn't conform with what they were assigned at birth. This is just most commonly used because it doesn't have as many of the negative connotations as the others, such as transsexual, which is a person who emotionally and psychologically feels that they belong to the opposite sex. So it is very much a very similar thing, but because of how it's been used in the media and in pop culture, it's become quite a negative word. And the same for transvestite, which is a person who derives pleasure from dressing in clothes primarily associated with the opposite sex, which more modernly is just known as cross-dressing or just having fluid dress choices. So it's always important to just find out what that person prefers you to use and use that, because some people might prefer the other terms. Cisgender is just the opposite of transgender then. It's denoting or relating to a person whose sense of personal identity and gender corresponds with what they were assigned at birth. So a lot of people confuse cisgender with being another umbrella term for transgender, but it's just the complete opposite. And that brings me on to sex and gender, which are, again, two separate things that get confused. Sex is assigned at birth and it's based on physical anatomy and like sexual reproductive organs, whereas gender is something that a person identifies with and experiences throughout their life. Sexuality is again a separate thing that is often thrown into the mix, but sexuality is just who someone experiences attraction towards, whether it's romantic, sexually, or just in a sort of friendship way. So with this being a discussion on kind of gender and sexuality, I thought I'd bring in gender stereotypes. These affect all of us, whether you're transgender or cisgender, because they are such widely held and fixed, but oversimplified images or ideas of what someone should do. So I made this little infographic myself just by searching man and woman. When I searched woman, I immediately got all things pink, loving, and shopping. And man, I got muscles, working out, kind of fixing things. And that just shows that even in the most smallest things, we see gender stereotypes everywhere. To explain the difference, I've put my own little markers. So my gender identity is male, but I understand that for me, there's a bit of androgyny and I use they, them because of that. But the way I express myself, sometimes I'll wear a dress or some makeup, which is classically considered feminine. But generally, I present kind of androgynously and with masculine clothing and haircuts and things. So stereotypes particularly harm the trans community because of the idea that to be a trans woman or to be a trans man, or as some people say, a real whatever, there's the idea that you have to perform those gender roles, which we shouldn't be forcing on cisgender people, let alone trans individuals. So trans women don't have to be feminine and wear dresses all the time to be a woman, just as trans men don't have to be masculine and enjoy sports to be a man. And non-binary people don't have to show themselves and present as androgynous to be non-binary. It's a very personal thing that's not always reflected in the things you enjoy and the way you dress. So I hope I've been able to express that gender is less so one or the other and is a massive diverse spectrum of different identities and presentations. Moving on from that is intersex, which is often confused or people debate about it. But intersex is just a general term used for a variety of different conditions in which a person is born with reproductive or sexual anatomy that doesn't seem to fit the typical binary of male or female. So intersex people may identify as trans, but they may also not, and they may also view themselves as intersex rather than putting any other gender label to themselves. And it's just important to respect their identity then from that. So moving on, I thought I'd introduce a little bit of trans vocabulary that you might see thrown around online. Just little abbreviations that are frequently used. So FTM is female to male. So anyone transitioning to male, which is me, I'm FTM. MTF is male to female, and it's anyone transitioning from male to a female. NB is then someone who's transitioning from the binary of male or female to non-binary, and that can include any of the identities. AFAB is considered assigned female at birth, so what was originally put on your birth certificate. AMAB is assigned male at birth, and the term misgender means to use the wrong pronouns for someone. Names. We've all got names and we all use names and nicknames, and they're a very, very important part of our identity. But especially for trans people, We often pick a new name to use to replace the name we were given at birth, which is either known as the birth name or a dead name. People don't want to associate with their birth name or dead name if they've chosen a new name, so it's important to use their chosen name or nicknames that they are comfortable with, because it's incredibly damaging for someone who is transitioning and who is trans to hear their dead name, and it can impact their mental health quite seriously. So moving on, I wanted to kind of explain why there's a lot of barriers for trans people and why perhaps there's not as many trans people openly trans, whether it's in your friendship circles, in your community. A lot of the fears are based on transphobia. So will I lose my friends? Will I lose my family? Will people laugh at me? Will I be able to find love as myself? And will I still be able to enjoy the same activities that I did before coming out? And these are all things that are massive, massive issues for trans people. And I'm sure some people couldn't even imagine not being able to be close with their family or be with their friends. But it's the misunderstanding that has caused these fears, because many of the public don't understand transgender identities. So transphobia is the cause of all these fears, but what is it? So transphobia is classed here as a hate crime, and it's a dislike of or a prejudice against transgender people. It can range from verbal abuse and intentional misgendering, all the way to job discrimination, physical attacks, and abuse of the trans people. It's deeply damaging at whatever level it takes place, and it makes day-to-day life so much harder for people to live, and has a massive, massive impact on a person's identity and their mental health and the way they enjoy the world. So some examples of transphobia and what transphobia means to some people is, it means my best friend can't be himself without prejudice. Hate and fear of what you don't understand. Isolation, never feeling completely safe, or that I have to be afraid for my safety and or my family's safety. In the UK, transphobia is quite prevalent and is having a massive impact on our trans youths. So more than 3 in 5 trans youth have experienced threats and intimidation, whilst more than a third of trans have actually experienced physical assault, which is leading to massive rates of mental health issues, such as more than 1 in 4 trans people have attempted suicide because the transphobia has gone so bad. But fortunately, there's lots that we can do to help and to prevent trans youths from feeling so isolated. So transphobia, at least here, is considered a hate crime, and it's anything that is committed against an individual based on a personal characteristic, such as their transgender identity, which I understand is protected under your constitution. This could include verbal abuse, offensive graffiti, threatening behaviour, damage to property, assault, bullying, which now includes cyberbullying, abusive texts, emails or phone calls, taking money from an individual, and many other instances that cause distress for an individual. So I wanted to introduce 5 simple tips to support a trans person, since you've seen the massive impact that the negativity can cause. You can make a massive impact positively on trans people. So number 1 is listen. It's so important to hear their story when they're willing to share it, and then act on it and ensure they feel comfortable and safe. Number 2 is respecting confidentiality. As I've explained, it can be quite a scary and dangerous world as a trans person. So ensuring that you respect their confidentiality helps protect them, and is just respectful. Number 3 is treat them the same as others. There's nothing particularly special about us. It's just we're trying to be more comfortable with ourselves. 4 is respecting their personal pronouns. It makes such a big difference and it really brightens the world. And 5 is whenever safe for both you and any trans person involved, challenge language or jokes that are said within schools or within your communities with peers that are aimed at trans people. But it is important to ensure that both yourself and anyone else is safe in that situation. So to kind of bring things to a close, I hope I've been able to explain what the term trans means and how to respect other people's identities. So thank you very much for listening. Are there any questions?
Fantastic session, Jenny. Fantastic, really. Was very, very informative and really, smashing stereotypes and bridging the ways of love and embracing oneself. Beautiful.
Thank you
Really,
so much.
yes. Thank you, G. Thank you so much. Yeah, obviously, some of my friends may be having some doubts. Any doubts or questions you want to ask to G now, or you want to do it after the discussion?
If you don't feel comfortable asking them, you can always message me or type it. I'm good with whatever.
Okay, cool. Yes, Albert.
Thank you very much for acknowledging. Really, really wonderfully done, William. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I think it's very important and to also talk about it, and also within the LGBTQ community that we are aware of violence and discrimination, that we do being unaware when we do it. I had a recent incident where I talked about a trans person, and without knowing their name change, I called them with a name that I was familiar with. And then I was called out for dead naming that person. And that's how I got to know about the term. And then it's difficult to kind of to apologize, but then not to apologize, but then, so my question is to you, how one could appropriately apologize to that person, that it's meaningful and that it also means something to that person, and also to the person who dead named someone without knowing. I mean, it can be really damaging for that person if they're now having a transition. Thank you.
Fantastic question, and thank you so much for bringing personal experience to this. Personally, I think the best way to go about it is to just apologize, correct yourself, whether that's correct yourself within the sentence or just go yes and say their name, and then move on. If people kind of make a drama of it or keep on apologizing, it puts not only the onus on the trans person to assure them that they're okay, but it also kind of keeps on bringing up that it's been a difficult change. So just a little apology, a correction, and you're all good.
Thanks. Simple as that.
Simple and beautiful. Thank you, William. Really beautiful session. Also, now let me clarify you about how we are going to proceed now for the next 1 hour. So, since G started this with a vibrant session, now we are going into smiley discussion. So, this is going to be a 30 minutes of discussion on today's topic, which is breaking myths and misconceptions about LGBTQ community. See, basically, when we, as a team, we were discussing in Smiley India about what actually should be kept as a topic for Friday, we discussed about many things and we found one commonality here. The reason why the community, people with different multiple gender identities, different from the previously conceived notion of just binary, they are being, sometimes isolated or marginalized or always viewed different because the mainstream, they are not the mainstream society, is not yet completely accepting them. And what caused this lack of acceptance? Possibly the lack of understanding, right? The lack of really understanding beyond the stereotype, beyond the myths and misconceptions of who each person truly are. So today I feel that in this event of Pride Week, it's very necessary to smash and break all the myths and misconceptions surrounding this with facts, with objectivity and reason, and bring together and make a resolution that will feel pride for every gender, will make a society inclusive for people from every orientation, every gender. Any differences will be accommodated with pride. So with this, we'll be having a 30 minutes of discussion in which there will be a 10 minutes of individual speakers list where people will be, given specially exclusively 2 minutes for talking your point. No one will be interrupting you or making any extra points in the time. After the 20 minutes, we'll be having a very open discussion together about what are the common myths and misconceptions and what is actually the fact. Then in the later 30 minutes, we'll be having the solution. But before that, we'll be having our sister Tanmay to, have her address, her briefing part on her behalf as a special invitee today to make her speak. And then with that knowledge, we'll carry on to make some solutions of how we can build an inclusive society where the mainstream will be including and accommodating every gender identity, every orientation, just like one human community. So yes, really excited. Let's proceed on with the individual speakers list of Smiley India. Starting with, I think it will be right if we call Krishnika now. Yes, Krishnika.
Hello, guys. So, myths and misconceptions on LGBT community in our society. So, I think the very first thing, like when a person talks about this thing, is that they say that sexuality or being another gender is a choice or like an option. So I think that if it's an option or a choice, they will rather be, they will rather not transition or like stay, stay straight, to be like honest. They don't choose to be bullied. So this thing should be made clear that sexuality or gender thing is not a choice. Well, I can say that that's how we are built, but yeah, I think that is just a statement I can go with. But also, and and one more misconception I think that is that this is all about sex. This is all about physical attractions, and the clear thing where I want to put that is this is not. We have to prove that this is not about sex. That's it for my 2 minutes. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yeah, here like something I actually saw in a recent, in a BLM hashtag, which was saying like the reality, what Krishnika was saying. I mean, people think for educating children about LGBTQ community, gender and everything, they feel it will be, a bit age inappropriate. The same people, they again go and ask a 4-year-old or 6-year-old, do you have a girlfriend? Do you have a boyfriend? Come on, let's start. I mean, this is age appropriate. This is actually something which should be educated from the child. Very correct. There are many, lame reasons like this. We can see the hypocrisy evolving. Okay. So thank you, Krishnika. I'll go with the next person as yes, Ramasundra.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for giving the chance. One thing that I want to address here is the schools, policies, and teachers are not always supportive to all people, particularly to these kind of LGBTQ community. And they first, as teachers, they don't respect them. Then even parents, they don't respect their choice. Then comes the community. first the parents, then the teachers, then the community. So everything starts at the house. So it is very important to educate the parents first about what is LGBTQ, and is why their choice should be respected. And I think we need to emphasize on these things.
Very true, Ramakrishna. Yes, thank you.
Mainly respect for their choice.
Okay. Respect for myself. Well said, well said. That's very correct. I mean, the basic awareness is still lacking in many parts of the mainstream society about that gender and sex are two different terms. Is still something which many people, uh, to be frank, majority of people now at least has to realize. Still, there is a hope. The voices are being heard now in India. But still, we also accept the fact that it is not loud enough, and to make it more louder so that the entire community, entire India can be, reformed. Not just India, every people across every country can have a reformed mindset, a more, affectionate and respectful way of seeing humans. Okay. Um, okay, now let's go with Harihar. Hello, Harihar. Okay. So, anyone else who wants to, volunteer next in the individual speakers list?
Yeah,
We still have,
okay.
yes, sir. Please.
Yeah, is there anyone? Okay. Okay, shall I
Yeah,
proceed?
go ahead, sir.
Yeah.
From
Really,
yeah, go ahead.
good. It's really very good to present here, talking with many people. And what I want to actually address is that, like other like discrimination of caste, like we talk about a lot about racism, we talk a lot about casteism. I think this is something we need to talk about, like we are doing it presently, but. It's going to be really not enough for people to get to know about it. I think the many places, and one more important suggestion is we need to remove the in application forms. Everyone used to see only male or female or other. I think it's not mandatory to keep it like that. They can voluntarily fill their see it's like indirectly discriminating people. So I think we need to give more information and preach more knowledge about it in everywhere, especially in schools, colleges, and of course in public posters. It's the best advertising tool you can ever see. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir. Yes, Andrew, you can go ahead.
It's really wonderful to have this conversation, which we're having right now on the Pride Month, and tomorrow being 28th of June, which is the day of Stonewall Riot, 1969. And we came far, and I think we will go much more beyond and create positive change, and also have all of our rights that we fight for achieved within a very short time if we all are aware and we all fight together. And I would say that in Indian subcontinent, India, Nepal, they are leading, Taiwan as well, in LGBTI rights and progress. And also good thing is about like introducing rainbow families in educational texts, like in books. So I think education is a very important aspect in terms of achieving freedom or claiming freedom, and also making young people think. Often also we just think about what is normal and what is not normal. I remember once my father told me, "You are secular," and I was like, "Yeah." It's like, "You're progressive." I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, "You are not normal." I'm like, "Yeah." No, I'm not normal. I'm not normal in your own norm where you think about a marriage has to be between a man and a woman. I'm not normal when in your norm you think if I'm born with a male genitalia, I have to wear shirts and jeans and and have my hair short. So I think it's important to question these stereotypes, these like that how one has to be because of our existence, and also question patriarchy. question, prejudices that we have in terms of race, in terms of skin color, in terms of where we come from, which part of Indian subcontinent we come from. And also our disabilities, and talk about that. Because once we're able to talk about these existing issues that are prevalent and we know that's unfair, then we can also talk about LGBTI rights. And I think we need to create a solidarity movement and just say, we are campaigning for and fighting for justice, social justice for all, and somehow LGBT rights are also part of it. And I think we as young people have the possibility to create environment around us where we can talk about our sexuality, our gender expressions, how we feel about it, how we see the world to be, and also like appreciating people for the way they are is really important. And I think it's important that we also talk about positive stories, encourage, support, instead of feeling paralyzed and feeling, oh my God, how terrible all of this is, I think the power of being positive is just so powerful. And I'm sure one day we will be able to enjoy all of those freedoms that we dream of. Thank you. I'm done speaking.
Thank you so much, Anand. I mean, I really, I'm regretting. Actually, I should have found your number somewhere in the group and sent you the invitation in morning itself. So I should have also made a special slot for you, 10 minutes. But great. I mean, really love to hear from you. Fantastic. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for inviting.
Yes, let's talk more. Let's go to Tanmay. Tanmay, you want to speak up in your individual speakers list of 2 minutes?
Yeah. Hi.
Hello, Tanmay.
Hi. So my name is Sanmay and my preferred name is Tara, and I go by pronouns she/they. And well, it's a very interesting thing to say that. Not exactly interesting, but thank you, Team Smiley India, for having this session, because it's most important. And I've seen Madras High Court, Chennai being pretty progressive about the community. So kudos to that as well. So, well, starting off with my story, I wasn't aware. Growing up, you know, pretty typical conservative Indian society. So, like, there was no difference between gay and trans person. So, when I asked my mother what does gay mean and what does trans person mean, she was like, it's the same thing. But slowly, as I started getting to know the world, I came across this uh, Harry Potter ship called Wolf Star, and that's how I got introduced to community. And I guess since it was through my favorite characters, I grew fond of community, and that is when I realized what I have been going through is pretty much normal, and it's not like it's not it's not very out of the world experience. So yeah, I mean dressing up, like being the girliest girl in the world to ever exist and being the tomboyest girl to ever exist. I've been through all those phases and then finally accepted my identity, my gender identity. And whereas for sexual one, it's pretty confusing for me. But then again, I have learned through my experience that it's a very fluid thing. So we should not. It's okay. It's okay to not have labels on us. So yeah. So basically, I've been trying to tell people this, and I've seen that I've been like pretty much open about myself in my college as well. So people are supportive, and it's pretty surprising at times, because you're not going to hate me, or you're not going to talk back to me because of what I said. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I mean, it is a wonderful journey. And like coming out of like I love this point that parents need to be accepting a lot. But the thing is, they have like they come through a particular mindset, so it's pretty hard for them to understand this. But I think if we give them some time and let, I mean, I know it's pretty hard, but if we give them some time, they do accept this fact, and they accept us basically. And yeah, I mean, because through my personal experience, I have seen this. Like, so basically, I accidentally came out to my mother. I was telling her about the lecture I conducted in my college, and I accidentally came out to her, and she was like, "What?" So yeah, it's pretty much. But then again, it doesn't matter as long as you, I mean, they understand. I mean, they do be like not phobic, I would say. But then, I mean, I don't believe in words homophobia and transphobia, because it's not phobia, it's just they being mean. So yeah, I mean, they might be mean about it, but then again, they are accepting. And yeah, so that's it. And pretty much, like, it's okay if you don't understand what's going with you right off, or like right away. But then, like, keep hanging in there, you'll get whatever help you need. And I mean, special mentions from my side will be, there's this organization called Swikar, and Swikar, the Rainbow Parents, and it's throughout India. And so it's, yeah. And like, they are basically people, like, people who are parents of the community, and like, they do counseling session with the like, kids whose parents are a bit reluctant about accepting them. So yeah, I will special mention to them, because they are out doing amazing job explaining all the parents that it's pretty much normal to accept the kids the way they are, rather than like, having like, prejudice about the kids. So yeah, that's it from my side.
Oh my God. Thank you so much, Anand.
Thank you,
Tara, thank you
Kavin.
so
Okay, and thank you, Kavin. Thank you, Team Smiley, for having all of us over here and having this session.
Really credits to the hard work of, as I mentioned the chapter earlier. They have been working all the way for this entire week. And I have to, on a personal note, I have to thank, Tanmay G and also Amber, because the thing is, you're being open with your personal experiences. I mean, there are many people watching the live. There are many people, there, who are, watching in the live in my community, who I'm, working on to empower the student community. Many are closeted, still they are, having this inhibition to come out. Still they are, a bit scared. I know that's completely legit. But seeing your personal experiences of something interacting with you all, I know they can't expose themselves and send thank you notes to you. But on behalf of them, I can thank you so much. All the three of you
Okay,
are sending
I'd
thanks
like
for me.
to add another point, that is, guys, it's okay if you don't want to come out right away, because see, it's pretty much like, you have to assess the situation, and then you have to assess, you have to be prepared for whatever future you have. Like, you have like I personally would suggest that be pretty much independent and then come out, because we never know what reaction can parents give. And I know people who like, they came out to their family, but then it was not, it was not good. I mean, I don't mean to discourage you, but then please, like, see the reality, assess the situation, try to talk with your parents about this, and then I would say come out. There's no hurry, and it's okay if you don't want to come out right away. It doesn't have to be grand, it can just be something simple. Or if you want to be grand, go for it.
Thank you so much. That was really valuable. Very valuable, because living in our society mainly, I mean, still the familial structure and many things still need, a bit of reform, has not been, extended to all the parts of our community. So very true. We should also be realistic when, coming out. I mean, everyone's hearing it. Yes. Okay. Now, I think we can proceed with the open discussion. Anyone can, in the next 10 minutes, next 15 minutes, make your points about what are the common myths and misconceptions you feel people are having about, LGBTQ community, movement, or even multiple genders and sexuality. What is their view? You think like, guys, am I there?
Yeah, we can
Hello.
hear you.
Yes,
We
yes,
can
yes,
hear
we
you.
can hear you. Yeah.
Ramachandra, please put forth the word to Ashish that have acknowledged and live is proceeding. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
He's trying to call me repeatedly. Please. Not connected my Bluetooth in laptop, so I can't hear his call. Thank you. Thank you. So yes, everyone, my dear friends, we can proceed with the open discussion for 15 minutes about whatever myths and misconceptions you are feeling that people are having about LGBTQ community.
Sorry, really couldn't hear you. Okay. Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
Kavin, you are audible.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting repeated call from my tech team. I mean, they accidentally, the system got switched off, it seems. So recording stopped, they were informing me. But yeah, live is proceeding. So no issues. So carry on. Okay. So yes, anyone ready with your points? Any myths or misconceptions you want to discuss? Yes, Krishnika? Krishnika, sir? Yes, Saran. Solunga, Saran. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I think people actually fear of basically there was not the technology wasn't really good before some few decades back. So I think people mistook uh, people. I think people mistook our communities. I mean, they basically fear. I think that needs to be changed, I guess. It is not necessary that they are very different. They can be anywhere, and I mean, they are within us only. We are actually we all form a community, but people actually think they are different and we are different. They fear a lot because of that.
Okay, you're saying the very own difference. It is like people is feeling fear because of, but more of what to
Yeah,
do with the socializing process. I mean, from childhood, people are socialized to just see
yeah,
the world in the way they are, not in the way
yeah,
that how each person is.
yeah. Which is actually a bit we can say hypocrisy. That okay, that's not a very good term to use. Okay, it's like some.
Hmm. Yes, Saran. Very correct, very correct. That's very true. Yes, G, you want to add some point?
I think that generally a lot of people who don't understand the community assume that we want more than equal and that we're somehow wanting more than we deserve. And of course, it's not that. It's just that for so long, we haven't had, say, like marriage rights or rights to adopt or have our own kids. And I think that's really important moving on, that we really establish that it's not that we want more, it's that we just want to be seen as humans, treated as humans, and all get the same things in life.
That's the point I want to just. I think people wanted to, people actually see the way they're being.
adding on to G's point, I mean, I read this pretty funny post saying, what does LGBTQAI plus equality means. It means having same rights as cis het people, as they mentioned, equal marriage rights, or like privilege would be something like the community people not paying taxes.
True. I mean, it's more of equity we need right now. I mean,
Exactly.
not everyone is on the equal plane, right? Not everyone is standing on the same
Of
road.
course.
Obviously, for some people, due to the generations of the system being oppressive, due to their differences, mainly people of different genders, non-binary, they are being treated differently, denying jobs, denying marriage rights, many such things. Even recently only, India made a very good move by decriminalizing LGBTQ. So this is very correct. But they are on a track, but still we need more. We need more of
Exactly.
equity of every gender. Very true. Very
So
true.
I mean, see, like marriage is a whole next level. I mean, let's start with the forms which we the forms which we receive. Like it's always just the three genders over there, right? It's always a male, female, or transgender. And I've seen like people are pretty hesitant when it comes to choosing the transgender option, because they fear the stigma of society. They still refuse to accept their identity, and that is why I think gender is pretty much or sex is pretty much unrequired part in forms, unless and until it's something related to medical issues or something like that. Or maybe you can just have an option setting like what's your gender. You see, like instead of putting out options yourself, let people put what they identify as.
Very true. Open-ended question rather than a close-ended option.
I
and
also
and
want
and
to
you
add.
know okay,
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
just a
Tanmay.
minute.
you can finish. You can finish,
Yeah,
Tanvi.
and I mean, see, I mean, okay, this is about the college forms and stuff. When you like, I recently filled out my passport form. So it like they gave out just two options, and that was just male and female. Like I mean, how do I work with that? So you
Very
see the
true.
point. Like the government needs to change. I mean, they do accept the fact that there are various genders, but they still don't show it.
They know the existence, but they are hesitating to do the
Ignoring.
acknowledgement,
Exactly.
ignoring it.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true. Now we are having a Aya here. Hello, hello, my friend. Is it audible for you? Hope I'm pronouncing right. Aya, right?
Hi.
Hey, Aya.
Hi, how are you? Hi, Aya, how are you? Okay, maybe some mic issues. It's okay, no issues. We'll be having a 10 more, we are having 5 more minutes. Any other myths or misconceptions or even hypocrisies as we talked till now, you need to discuss here in the forum about revolving around gender identity, LGBTQ community, whatever. Yes, Ramachandra?
What I feel is still there are myths that parents need to know about the child's identity, and it's not like that. It's the right of each and every individual to decide upon it, and nobody should be forcing on it, right? That's something I feel, which is not correct fundamentally.
Very true, very true. I mean, that socializing of either muscularity or femininity forcefully on children or anyone in the population, that's not good. I mean, this all revolves around, I mean, again, I give credit to Krishnika. She was the one educating me. I didn't learn it on my own. But yes, it's very true, putting that forcefully on the muscularity or femininity part of a person. Stressing that women should always act feminine and men should always be muscular or masculine. These are, age old, I can say, somewhat 2,000 years old misconceived notions. Why are we still having those? Why should we still, at this age of this reason, believe in these things? Gender is actually, varying spectrum, right? Between these two ends. That's what gender is. So why restrict it to only the end of the spectrum? Why just only extremes? Why not in between? I mean, this concept itself is not aware to many people. Unfortunately, like many people I have worked with, I have seen that they think gender and sex means literally the same. They think that gender is something they are born into. But no, gender is a social construct. It's how you are constructed socially. Either the society has constructed on you in your socializing process or whatever. But it is not, nothing to do with biological, not with your biological configuration. Very true. And orientation, there should always be a freedom in that. Orientation also should not be restricted to the biological sex. That's what we have been stressing on. But the thing is, first of all, many people don't even know. I mean, I'm saying in my experiences with the grassroots level students, many people don't even know the existence of different genders and orientations. They just know the word, the word gay or transsexual as something to, tease about. That's not something to tease. That's a unique and beautiful identity of a person. So these things, I mean, பார்த்துட்டு இருக்க ஒவ்வொரு தமிழ்நாடு பசங்களுக்கும் சொல்றேன், saying in English, for everyone from India, students seeing this, I think we need to incorporate this more into ourselves. Now, how much are we accommodating, knowingly and unknowingly? True. Anyone else who wants to make a point about myth and misconception, or can we go to the solutions part?
Hello guys. So I just want to
Yes,
go ahead. Thank you everybody for making your points. That was so beautiful, and it makes me happy to think this is.
It's okay, no problem. Meanwhile, we can hear from Harihar or Aya or Vishal and Janavi. Anyone else?
Hello.
Yes, Janavi.
So don't mind my background noise. There's a lot here.
That's okay.
Okay. Yeah. So, hi everybody. I'm Janvi. I'm from Smiley. You know that. So, I'm not that sure about transgenderism. I'm not going to talk about that. I did some research in the past few weeks about homosexuality, and I've acquired. I mean, since the beginning of this moment, I've been quite affirmative about this. I mean, I never had a problem with it, or I found it like people wanting to be who they are, and I was completely okay with it. I didn't have proper scientific facts about it. But so when I started to do some research about this topic, and I found some really interesting facts. So I'm going to start with the science behind homosexuality, right? The first myth behind homosexuality is that people often describe it as a genetic error, right? So they say it's a genetic error and that's why people become homosexual. And so the thing is, it is not. If it was a genetic error, then natural selection would have removed it all along, evolution, but it's still there. So there was a purpose for homosexual people in this society. And that is, I'll come up to the society's part later. So I'm gonna explain the science behind homosexuality. There are two things in our body called epigenetics and genetics. So epigenetics being basically changes caused by behaviors and environment that affects the genes. So as we discussed, sexuality can be fluid, can change along your lifetime, or it can be firm from the beginning, or whatever it is. But these epigenetics, they decide whether you're going to become who you are. Are you going to be straight? Are you going to be bi? Are you going to be gay, lesbian, whatever it is? So I'm going to say the advantages of homosexuality. So since before these birth control meds came, before we had all these pills and all the different kinds of birth control. It was nature's way of introducing homosexuality. So I'm just going to talk about gay people here because a lot of studies were made from gay people, gay groups. So if a mother is having 4 male children, then a 5th male child is probably to be gay. It's not 100%, but every child you have, the possibility of having a gay child is increased by 33%. So nature is like enough with children. I'm going to reduce the population. So it's going to turn on this epigenetic gene in the mother's womb, making the 5th child as gay or 5th or 6th or whatever it is. It's not accurate, but it happens when when a mother is having a lot of children in order to stop the population in that family. So not just to reduce the numbers, these homosexual people, they tend to have all these characteristics, which tend to keep the family together. They act as a glue to the society. So homosexuals are, of course, they are a minority. They are a distinct group. They are small but very distinct, right? So when a group is in minority, they tend to have more emotional intelligence, that is EQ. So when a group has higher EQ, therefore homosexuals provide unusual talents and rare personality traits. So these traits can be very beautifully harvested to glue the society. So society that tries to condemn homosexuals, they probably hurt themselves, So when you try to say that homosexuality is just a genetic error, then no, it is not. It's not a natural, it's not a genetic error. It's science, it's nature's way of saying it's a gift, to be honest. So I don't know why people don't understand this. I don't know why people have the right to say what's natural and what's not natural. So I think you have to truly understand the science behind certain things and then comment on it. So that's my stance here. Thank you.
Superb. Fantastic point, Stanley. Really, we can see like you did a week of research and your points prove it. Good. Really cool. Thank you, Jaravi. Anyone else? So we can move to the solutions part. We are having some people this time from out of the forum. I guess Harihar and Aya. Guys, do you want to make a point? We are really interested to hear from you. Okay, now Ishuf.
Well, hello.
Yes, hello.
So I'm an ally of LGBT community. So
great.
So I had some issues with some people. So due to past negative experiences, some LGBT people don't trust me because they think that I am a part of community. Just this is my point.
So I guess he wants to bring up the topic of intersectionality, which even I wanted to bring up. That is when people belong to higher caste, it's usually a perspective that they by default are LGBTQAI plus mean people. They're mean to the community because so that's the point of intersectionality. So yeah, it's one of the most important points that if if I am from higher caste and I'm part of community, and let's say I'm a cis person, so I'll be getting a benefit. People won't be that negative about or let's say I won't be facing those kind of hardships which a person let's say a non-binary person from Dalit community might face, because I'll be pretty much I'll be already in a progressive society when I grow up, but same might not be the case for the other person. So that's intersectionality is one of the main points which is pretty important while discussing the issues of community.
Very, very true, Tanmay. Are you meaning to say that because of the upper castes which are having a lot of privileges with education, previously lot of privileges, so being introduced into a lot of westernized cultures and everything, for them to come out and identify themselves is a bit more easier than people who are, not having those privileges by birth. I mean, especially the case of Dalits and other communities in India, since the
Exactly.
westernization is not as relevant.
Exactly. And if we if we want an example on global level, we can, instead of caste, we can go for races, like probably uh, a black person in US might not have same privileges as a white gay person might have. So I mean, that is the whole point of intersectionality, that is to gain equality between this, and not equity perhaps, but equality.
Very true. Very true. I mean, in India, we are having a bit of equity on this. I mean, not on the gender wise, but at least on the caste wise. But very true. All over, there's a set of people in the sections for privileged classes. And also there are classes which are not privileged, which are not, having the same privileges as these people are having. So automatically in the privileged communities, people can be, even when they are opening up about their sexuality, about their gender, if they are differing from that preconceived notion, they don't face the same level of discrimination faced by a person who is not having privileges, who is already underprivileged by skin color, by birth, in case of caste, religion, in ethnicity, or whatever. When they come out or when they open up about their identity. Very true. Now, the case is not just, not common with all of the people. Everyone has a difference. And privileges and classes have a very big role to play in this. Very true. So yes, with this, I think we have to move forward with Tanmay, with her 10 minutes of addressing our Smiley discussion forum. And then we'll be moving on together, my friends. We'll be moving on into the solution part of last 10 minutes, where we will be, drafting solutions of how we can make an inclusive society for every gender. Let's make it a solution, a resolution, which our youth community is going to take up. Also, please feel free, because when you're making solutions, it can range not just from personal level, but also from social level, in all the levels, because we'll be forwarding the solutions to, the authorities and everyone. So we'll be taking forward the solution, Smiley discussion forum. So obviously what you talk here can possibly bring a change outside in the society. So feel free. We'll go with Tanmay. Yes, Tanmay, you can proceed with your speaking now. I've been waiting for you. Yes, Tanmay, please.
Yes. Okay. So solutions to this. So to be honest, let's go with small things that include the community. Like, so when I met when I met the first person from community, I was pretty much starstruck. So, and I mean, I'm pretty much embarrassed by the experience, because they were just a human like me, but still I was starstruck, because I met some I met someone from the community for first time. But then, as so that's the first thing, like we should be inclusive enough that we don't, like, we should be able to accept the fact that the person is not necessarily a cis-het person in front of us, and they can be more than that. Second thing is, we should not assume anything. Third is, whenever we introduce ourselves, we should always, go with our pronouns, even if they are, cis pronouns, that is she, her, or he, him, whatever. So we should always, as G said, like we should always go ahead with that. So another thing, I mean, whenever I follow the trans activists, whenever I have seen is, we need to have more gender neutral washrooms, because it it's really mm, like, pretty horrific experience for trans people to use washrooms in India, given if it's a male to female person, like male to female person, they it's like women will be staring at them, they'll be calling out curse words at them. And whereas for female to male, it's pretty like there are many, I don't know how to put this in word, but the
Violences can
people are
happen on them, right?
exactly. And see, like not everyone can afford the surgeries, so we need to have sorry, gender neutral washrooms. And yeah, I mean, we pretty much like whatever we can do to make the person feel as normal as possible. And of course, using gender neutral terms while addressing, so like may it be some kind of presentation, may it be some kind of meeting, or like conversation in general, like whenever I'm addressing to a larger audience, instead of starting off with ladies and gentlemen, why not greetings people or greetings to the audience, like no one feels misgendered, no one feels oh my god, now I mean it's the person in front of me seems pretty unapproachable. So I think like whenever we approach someone, they should feel safe enough to be themselves, you know. So yeah, I mean,
Very
like
cool.
right now these are my points. I would like to add further as we go ahead.
Sure. Sunny, also, since we have time, you can also share any other things you want in the discussion. Like, the time is exclusively for you if you want. Any
Okay,
other
sure.
things also you want to say?
Sure. So there's this page called Yes We Exist India, and I would suggest you all to check it out because they had this amazing series during the Pride month, and it was about people's experiences about coming out, or they do share about what can be done if someone is cyberbullying you, like if people of community are being cyberbullied or everything, like they are the ones, I mean, the Jeet, he's the founder of the page, and he has been pretty much supportive. And yes, I mean, the page is someone you can lean on when you need to, when you have any queries. And it's pretty, it's they are like pretty supportive when it comes to answering any type of questions, may it be legal, may it be about mental health and everything. And apart from that, yeah, I would like to just a small request that please do read about NALSA judgment of, if I'm not wrong, 2014, and Trans Bill of 2019, which came out, and please see the differences yourself. Like if the the basic human necessities which a trans person gets as their birthright, they are deprived of it. So, or basic justice what they should get, they are not, like they don't even get basic justice. So if a cis woman is raped or assaulted, the offender has to go for somewhat, I guess, 5 years or 5+ years of jail. Whereas if it's for trans women, it's just 1+ year or something. So I mean, see, you can see the difference, and why, just because the person is trans. And other point is they are deprived of jobs. There are no many, no many trans inclusive jobs, no many, in fact, community inclusive jobs present in India as of now. And then, I mean, the general audience, like in general citizens, they are pretty much, I mean, not so supportive. I mean, I have been lucky enough to have supportive people in my life, but what about others? The situation is not same. So yeah, like we need to try to be a better person. I know people who support the same sex couples, they support the cis couples, but when it comes to a person being trans or non-binary, they start saying it's not biological, it's not scientific, pretty unscientific, and I think that's pretty unrealistic. Like, come on, like they are part of community, and you should be able to accept them because their identity is not harming you. Then why? Then I mean, why be hateful towards them?
Exactly, like even they are saying proof from history or science or scriptures. We also have ample proof to prove that society was gender fluid. True. They are having proofs in every scripture, in every culture.
Exactly.
It is there. It was there. I mean, the
I
advent
mean,
of colonialism, advent of some ideas, misogynism, patriarchy, it just took away. But the truth is, roots are still there. And for a choice of a person and for their emotional freedom, who needs roots or who needs, science to portray human emotions, right?
exactly. And talking about science, I mean, let's like we do accept the fact that nature is the biggest scientist in world, conducting so many experiments on daily basis, and there are so many animals which, like which, like they are genderless, like they don't need to,
Exactly.
they are there are many same sex couples in animals. So I mean, it's pretty much okay. Like, come on, like just open your eyes and see what's happening in nature, and then say it's unscientific, and that's completely utterable when you say like this is not science.
Exactly. Krishna, I want to mention the point. Like, we're talking about animals and we're talking about humans. Compare the concept of muscularity and femininity with the nature. Do you find anywhere muscularity or femininity among lions or chimpanzees? I mean, is there any concept that only the male lion will hunt and female lion will, do house chores? Yeah? Like it will be submissive? No, we don't say it. We see female lions killing male lions during, the season. That happens.
Exactly. And if we really start to compare, like femininity and masculine, like human femininity and masculinity with the animal kingdom, like we can see it, like the male species is more feminine in that matter. If we compare, like
Exactly.
what we call feminine is what the masculine traits of the the male species are in animal kingdom. So I mean, that's
Exactly. When a mother protects its young, it takes the most masculine role. Any human man cannot afford that role. That's why can't
exactly.
really see gender in animals.
No, like not, I'm not even talking about the roles, I'm just talking about the looks. Like people say, like if
Okay.
you are, yeah. So see, like there might be a cis het person who is feminine in nature, doesn't mean the person is gay. Or there are many gay people who are pretty much masculine, but like it's like people assume like they cannot be gay. So it's not about how, like I mean, it's pretty I mean, I don't know how do people believe in such stereotypes, because understand that this is not something, to be stereotyped. It's everyone's personal identity, and they are free to accept the way they want to be.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, proceeding. We have nearly 10 minutes more. Also, G, what solutions are you feeling we need to, necessarily incorporate to make a more inclusive society for everyone?
I think education is the first and most key thing, even within the community, because so many people don't know about perhaps the other letters and what they mean, and don't get to interact with people outside of their little sub community. But I also think just having safe places for LGBTQ plus people, like I found my place with the youth group, and I think that's so key in giving people the opportunity, the courage, the safety to make social change in the long run.
Very true. I mean, comparing also, we need to talk about somewhat when covering solutions, not just the urban India, but rural India, where, all these topics are taboo, where just the concept of patriarchy is still existing, even women rights are still discriminated. In that manner, I have heard, when people come out as a transgender or as, with different orientations, many violences are conducted on them, like forceful rape, burning their houses, or forceful isolation from the village. Many such things are happening, for which I think more than anything, proper awareness and appeal to the empathy of human beings will be a very good way for reform. Yes, others. My dear students from Chennai, Ramachandra, Charan, Janavi, Krishnika, Vishal, Ashish, what are the points you are having, my friends? You can also share. What solutions do you have?
Yeah,
Solunga,
shall I
Charan,
proceed?
solunga.
Yeah. I think reservation needs to be really increased. Reservation, in the sense, we had for we had for many casteism issue. I think I think it's also a way to educate people by increasing reservation. People will get to know more about this. I think also in application forms, like someone said, I think it's Tanmay, no need for that. Yeah, that no need for that column. I think they can have something called special addressing special issue. Say for example, they don't need for identification of gender or male or female, something like that, and they can go for, I guess, special in the sense, if a pregnant lady travels in a flight, say they can give some column for that. I think, or if a girl or if a trans people, yeah, I think if someone is uncomfortable with their problems or any other issue, not only about the issue we are talking about, any other issue, I think that could be a great thing, rather than identifying. Of course, we have many problems, we have many in Chennai, in India we can see many women special transportation system. Okay, that's we can't
Yes, please mention it, Charan.
yeah, I think it will be definitely a very, very, very big problem while formulating these plans. But I think there is some time we have got. I think we have started to discuss a lot in the recent times. We are really good to see government of many countries came forward to addressing these issues. I think we need to appreciate that. But still, we and also I want to mention something. In Tamil Nadu, in every school in Tamil Nadu, we have this issue. If a boy cries, everyone would have heard this statement from our teachers. If he
Boys
just cry,
don't cry. Boys
I
don't
think we
cry.
don't need to mention that. If he cries, he has some emotion. Maybe he might be wrong or right. Just why target pulling, as he like pulling, it's like pulling a third person who is nowhere in that spot. I think that can be reduced. The teachers needs to be severely punished. The students can, of course, in recent times in Chennai, we have seen really great things happening. I mean, problems have been identified. Yeah, we know PHP.
Addressing of the issues of sexual violence immediately. That's
I
happening.
think
That's okay.
because the teachers are actually creating people. They can they need to actually stand for students. And I think even in every school we can see
Charan,
that.
I'll come back. I'll finish with everyone. Thank you. Wonderful point. Yes, Krishnika, Vishal, Janavi. Krishnika, yes, Krishnika.
Hi guys, so sorry for I wasn't able to make my point back then, but for solutions, as G said, education, yeah, it's very important, and also like Tanmay said, how the masculinity and femininity is, it's very much a problem. So I think that teaching about masculinity and femininity, like the gender norms, for children should not be given. So if I have a baby boy, they'll give them a blue colored clothes. So assigning gender norms, like for teaching gender norms in early childhood is not advisable. So if from childhood, teaching children that the uh, like, everything is gender neutral, and so they can pick what they want. They can give their own meaning for whatever it is. If they want to wear makeup is gender neutral, right? Anybody can do it. So I think parents being saying that this is not right, this is not for you, that will automatically stop children from learning more.
Very true. Very, very true, Krishna. Beautiful point. Yes. Janavi, Vishal, or Ramachandra, anyone else?
Yeah, can I proceed?
Yes, Ramachandra.
What I feel is before going on something deeper, first I think we need to ensure their basic rights. Like by Article 377, we are accepting them, but still, in most of the schools, in most of the colleges, in most of the top universities, they are not given admission to study. They are not accepted there. Whether
Exactly.
on paper, it is like everything, like everyone is accepted, but what is the reality is they are not accepted in most of the schools. They are not accepted in most of the universities. First, we need to ensure the legal rights, that basic rights that needs to reach them before we work on
Exactly.
something like accepting them secularly. Like, am I right?
Very correct. The
And
basic legal rights.
yeah, basic legal rights is a must for everyone, no matter about their gender.
Exactly, because
They are
it's
as same as other citizens, right? They are also citizens of India. We are
yeah,
also
they
citizens.
have Article 14, Article, the fundamental right to
Yeah.
every person living in the
We need
land
to,
of India. It's common.
we need to ensure its implementation. I think that's the right word for
Exactly.
it.
Um, that's correct, Ramasundar. But let's not stop with it because constitutionally, it is declared that everyone is same. And the reason we can think why there wasn't special legislation previously was because during the writing of Constitution of India, there was, not much awareness about the gender or related concepts. But they made it in a very clear way. No discriminations on basis of gender, sex, and any type. All Indians are equal. I mean, all person in India is equal. So I'm saying we need to make special legislation, as Tanmay told, regarding the violences committed against people who are trans people, people who are
I
not
think
cisgender.
I think it's not even wrong even if we give reservations for them.
Exactly, that is very true.
Instead of giving
See,
reservations on basis of other criteria, first thing is to protect them. We can give them reservations like in schools, in colleges.
Exactly. See, the main thing is because this issue, despite having
they need to come up. They need to come up in this society. Still, they can't be somewhere around like 100 years back. These people are not accepted. We are in 2021. We need to
see,
bring them
100
there.
years back, that is the problem. 100 years back, if we take at least one issue, which was very common, of transgenders, in Mughal courts, they are having some positions on top. But you see now today in the reality, see, to be frank, even I think we talked in call about this today. I mean, the issue of transgenders in India is very peculiar. Being the most oppressed in India, despite having a very large number, they are the most oppressed because they are denied education, opportunities in education institutions. They are,
Also
isolated
jobs.
from
Also
society.
jobs. Yeah.
Exactly, job. Yeah, because first of all, they don't even get education. Then how can they get jobs? On that ground, indirect discrimination, not providing houses. I mean, if a person is of a different, they feel different, they won't give houses to that person for rent. Every way, they are marginalized. And then people are complaining that transgenders are, begging, why can't they do something different? It is not their fault. We push them to that situation.
Even like how we we give for women on politics, we need to give them for these people also.
Yeah, still both of the things haven't happened in India, but we have to do it. We have to do something. Fantastic, fantastic, wonderful point. Everyone in the forum. Subhaba Pesning, everyone, thank you for all the people in this discussion. You have brought, a very good awareness and in depth to this topic. Once again, making it clear that see, gender is a social concept, it's a fluid concept. There is no end spectrum of masculinity or femininity, and they are not just the only identities which should be put on a person based on their sex. Once again speaking, in all across the world, people, humans together are one and the same. Doesn't matter what color you are, what is your origin, what language you speak, what gender you are, or whom you orient with. Whatever it is, humans are one and the same. And I feel this is there is no other better time than this time. Pride. It's a special occasion because in other terms they always say being different is okay. But in pride, we say that being different, take pride in it. Be proud of yourself. That's what we are teaching in Smiley India to students about self-love. Love yourself, no matter what. No matter what others say. Love yourself for who you are. For who you are originally. I mean, just accept yourself. I know there is going to be a lot of struggles for people who are, seeing this video in YouTube and people, who are feeling they are a bit different from the mainstream. There are, difficulties. There are challenges. And there are people who feel that as a population, as a society, we are very far away from, reaching towards an inclusive place. But let me tell you, today we have seen, G, we have seen Tanmay, we have seen Anbit from Bangladesh, many other people, and we have seen fantastic solutions from forum members. See, this is not the previous generation, for everyone saying this. This young generation, this new generation of India, we are inclusive, not just India, for the entire world. We are inclusive. We accept everyone as one and the same. We understand each other. Beyond, the social labels which are put on people, we see them as humans, as who they are and what they mean to us, not based on the social labels put on us. Even gender and all the identities are just a social label. Let's not, strive to make it like LGBTQ or different genders are a different community. They are just like us, our human community, part of our human community, who just orient differently from the previous historical ways and convictions. We need to celebrate. We need to celebrate differences, which will not divide us, but which will make us more united, together as one community of human beings. I believe I keep my hope on this generation, on our generation of youngsters, that together we can together resolve to bring a generation of inclusiveness and acceptance, where everyone will be loved, everyone will be respected, and everyone will be accepted for who they are, irrespective of their gender or orientation or whatever they feel to differ with. So yes, everyone, thank you for this. Thank you for letting me speak for this long. Also, thank you so much, Tanmay and G. It was really, fantastic to having you guys today. Really a very good learning experience. On behalf of Smiling India and students of Chennai, I extend my warmest gratitude to both of you and all the other international people who joined with us today. And yes, thank you, my dear friends. Happy Pride to everyone.
Thank you all so much.
Thank
and
you,
thank
guys.
for
Thank you,
having me.
everyone, for this wonderful session. We really got to know so much that we were not aware, and the information which you guys have shared, it means a lot to us. And yes, on behalf of Smiley India, extend thanks to you all for joining and supporting us in this great moment. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, I think
This was the man behind the scene, Ashish. The man, who always do the thick stuff, everything for Smiley India.
That's
His face
nothing.
won't be visible. So he is this noted. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's really Pride Month is something not only for the community people. I think everyone in this world need to be proud of how diverse we are. So I think Pride is something we all need to celebrate. So happy Pride Month to everyone.
Happy Pride.
I think
Happy
I
Pride,
also
guys.
it's really good to see get each other know really well. And also I think if this is still live streaming, if any influential people are watching, say for example any actor, I think they can come forward speaking about these things, because their influence can be really used in a really good.
Karan will include all the additional solutions of the task. So yeah, thank you. Many people have a lot to say. We'll include everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.
Also,
Thank you,
special
Tanmay.
thanks to our CEO and founder Kavan for making us meet such amazing people, like through his whole network and the strong I believe that yes, through Smiley India, which he has started, and now that we are all on board, we will definitely bring a change in the society and like whatever field we are going to do. So thank you so much, guys. Ramachandra, Vishal, Charan, for staying with us. And yes, Smiley India will keep bringing, we'll keep identifying problems and bringing the solutions which can be apt and can be used for making those problems go away.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ashish.
Definitely,
Yes,
Tanmay, we are doing that. We'll make sure that our Smiley members also do get that story of pride. Definitely, Tanmay. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
we are working on a post. I introduced you, right, Tanmay, Krishnika and team. There is actually a page, Convo Care, which is specially devoted to all this and mental health.